All right, everybody, welcome to Eagles Aftermath, the Eagles post-game live show, only here on DSM Media. If you're on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, wherever you are, share it out, like it, comment. You know the drill. Make sure you hit subscribe. You know all the details. Obviously, the Eagles fall, not unexpectedly, to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 28-22. They fall to 2-4 on the season. I am Phil Stiefel. I'm joined by my best man right here, Jason Voorhees from the Sports and Metal podcast, from the Drunk on Ice. I think I got it right that time, right? Podcast. And there's so much to tap into and so much to talk about. And the score looks close at 28-22. But Jason, I got to ask you, why, deep down inside, do I feel like we lost 50-10 right now? Because that's how I feel at 11:30 at night here.
I mean, I got to agree with you. Like, every time I do a show, I always, take notes and all my notes early, even up until like the end of the third quarter before, we started to make a comeback.
It was all comebacks. I don't call it a comeback.
Well, you know what I'm saying. But it was all negative. Yeah. Everything. I mean, that's nothing new for me. I always get accused of being negative. And
so I got accused quite a few times tonight about being negative.
Yeah, but you know what? It's frustrating because when I try to be optimistic, then I get my balls broke about that. So it's like
that happened to me tonight. I got told, hey, I won't boo Ben Simmons, but I'm being negative tonight. I'm like, dude, I can't win whether I want to be negative or positive right now.
Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, I've tried my hardest to be patient with this team, knowing that I believe in my heart of hearts, many of us, I think, maybe even had higher expectations than we really should. Knowing the talent that this team has, knowing that, we all wanted to believe that Howie Roseman all of a sudden went from being the worst GM in the league to the best in one season. And that's just not true. I mean, if you look up and down this roster, this team has a lot of holes. And, we're still delved of we don't have a lot of playmakers. We don't. Devonta Smith.
Well, and I think you're making a good point there. But on the flip side of the equation, even having playmakers doesn't matter when we have a high school coaching staff coaching this team. And that's where, more holes than not. Yeah, exactly. But that's where I'm at right now is like, we can't evaluate Jalen Hurts, whether he's the quarterback of the future or not. And I know a lot of people are going to say he's not. And yes, look, he has done zero to let anybody say in any way, shape, or form he is 100% a quarterback, franchise quarterback for the future. He hasn't done enough, obviously. But are we getting a realistic judgment of him when Nick Sirianni called one running play in the first half? One, not two, one running play in the second half. That's not good enough. When Jonathan Gannon's defense puts Jalen Hurts behind from the get-go, is that a way to judge Jalen Hurts where he's got to be you're to quote you, Jalen Hurts has to play hero ball every single game? I don't know if I could totally blame Jalen Hurts. I put the onus on these pathetic performances, actually, on Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman for hiring Nick Sirianni, Jonathan Gannon, Shane Steichen, this coaching staff where everybody is overwhelmed and everybody's in over their head.
Well, I mean, honestly, you just hit it on the head, because that was one of my first notes. Mm-hmm. Is Nick Sirianni asking to be one and done? Because it seems to me like this guy is not adjusting and he's not learning from his mistakes. In fact, it seems like he's regressing every week. And you know what? Listen, we saw quite a few coaches in this town. Like Andy Reid was a young coach once. Mm-hmm. But Andy Reid, to me, at least made adjustments. This guy, I don't want to use the word inept, but dude, it almost seems like he is inept. Like
he looks over his head, honestly. We went up against the literally best rush defense in the league. The best rush defense in the league. Okay. And it's really funny. I just brought up the box score on ESPN. and I guess they must have an issue on their website because right now it says the Eagles lost 28-0. Which I'm gonna bring that up on the screen here. I'm gonna stop this share that I'm set up for the press conference. I got to bring this up here so people see what I see here on the ESPN website. Is it going to happen? There it is. And 28-0. That's how it actually feels we lost tonight. All right. So anyway, like I was going to say, you're going against the best run defense in the league, and you gave one rush to your running back who, let's be honest, has the talent. He's played bad. Whatever issues he's got right now mentally are affecting his game. In the second half, they actually hit the ball a little bit. He rushed for 56 yards on 9 carries, a 6.2 average. He actually was able to do something against this awful great defense. And that's really, really frustrating because why does it take so long for Nick Sirianni to realize this?
I mean, I think I texted you that. Yeah, when they ran, it was like, oh my God, we had a Miles Sanders sighting. Like, exactly. Miles Sanders actually exists. Like, going back to what you were talking about how I said hero ball. Yeah, so I did. I tweeted out a tweet, and I kind of got a lot of backlash for it. And I don't know why I got backlash when in the tweet I admitted that the guy deserves criticism. So basically, I said everyone is super critical of Hurts, and that's fine. He deserves it. But
absolutely.
But when your coach expects you, as a young quarterback who still needs to work on his game, in quotes, only goes with the first read, then all I can say is, what do you expect? Making a young quarterback play hero ball on a weekly basis it's not it. Look, so
we got Adam saying he looks lost and frustrated. Well, yeah, but we're lost and frustrated with him. I mean, the last touchdown the Eagles scored, you got 1st and goal on the 1 yard line. And what do we say he needs to do less of? But what was the first play call that he ran? Shotgun RPO on the. You literally just got to the goal line by handing off to Miles Sanders. Stop. Get under center and let Miles Sanders run up the middle 4 times if you have to. And they got the touchdown on an RPO. And in my mind, I'm frustrated because that touchdown, Jalen Hurts had 2 rushing touchdowns on RPOs. Now Nick Sirianni is going to see that positive in the film and be like, well, we got to run more because it obviously scored us 2 touchdowns. And that might be the analytical thing. My man Connor Miles said it today, just like you. He said it late in the 3rd quarter, early 4th quarter. Hurts deserves all the criticism, but so does Nick Sirianni because, again, I tweeted it out and then I said after I hit send on the tweet, I'm like, shit, I got to stick to this tweet. I said, I don't know if Jalen Hurts is the quarterback of the future or not. There's still something to be worked out. He's not impressing me, but whatever. But I'm 110% sure Nick Sirianni is not an NFL head coach. And I'm like, oh shit, I sent that out. But then I thought about it for another second. I'm like, no, I'm going to stand to that. Nick Sirianni is not an NFL head coach. Y'all know I don't mind admitting when I'm wrong. Maybe someday, 5 years from now, I was wrong about Gabe Kapler, obviously. You know what I mean? Nick Sirianni does not belong as an NFL head coach. And that is my biggest takeaway. I didn't expect him to win, Jason. I know you didn't expect him to win or, put up a boatload of points against the Buccaneers. But even in a loss, you can learn some positives. We're getting is he worse than Chip Kelly? Yeah. I mean, honestly, at least we knew what Chip Kelly was going to do. Nick Sirianni, he's just.
I mean, let's get into, Hurts deficiencies. I mean, there are some concerns there. Let's face it.
Absolutely.
Nobody's saying there isn't. I mean, let's face it. He was late on that in the first quarter, the 45-yard pass to Reagor. He was late on. Aikman even said it like numerous times after that play that, Hurts is struggling with this part of his game. Okay. Then you come back to that 3rd quarter play, the 55-yarder to Reagor that was also underthrown. So we get it, guys. We get it.
Bailed out by the pass interference call there.
Has some deficiencies in his game. But I will say this. The guy did. If it weren't for that Gernard, am I saying it right? Gernard Avery.
Get him off my team. I don't care how you say his name.
Dumbass penalty. We had a chance there if we could have held them.
Absolutely.
To come back and win.
Competing despite Nick Sirianni.
So exactly. So my point is let's pump the brakes on the Jalen Hurts negativity and hate. The guy is a gamer. We all
absolutely,
and I'll take a gamer on my team any day of the week.
Yeah, he's kind of like a poor man's Tim Tebow. He wins ugly, he loses ugly. You know what I mean?
Maybe
and talking about those passes. A lot of the passes that we're talking about, I know he short-armed one across the middle. I think it was to Devontae Smith, in the first half. But these deep balls or these passes that are overthrown or short are not arm strength issues. It's timing and follow-through issues. Dude. It's teachable and coachable to where because every deep ball is either overthrown or underthrown. It's because it's kind of like you're a baseball guy. It's like a pitcher trying to place a pitch because he's nibbling on the corner. You know what I mean? He's trying too hard to hit a certain spot instead of throwing to a spot and letting the receiver go get it. And that's a problem. And that there was the Gainwell, I think it was in the third quarter or second quarter, where he had Gainwell on third down wide open, and he just sailed it over his head. That wasn't sailing it over his head, as everybody's saying. He just put too much zip. He needed to float that. So again, a touch situation like that, it's coachable.
I trust Aikman's assessments. The guy played quarterback, won multiple Super Bowls.
Although he must have bet the over on amount of times he would say booing and the Eagles and Philly fans. So you might want to compliment Aikman, but Aikman was and Buck were in true form bashing us Philly people.
I don't like Aikman, but I trust his assessment on a quarterback. Absolutely. And he said it multiple times that it's not the arm strength. The reason that Hurts is having a problem and he's underthrowing balls is because he's not throwing the ball early enough. He's not getting it out on time. He's holding it too long, and then when he's throwing it, he should have thrown it seconds before. So it's a timing issue. It's not strength. The guy can throw the ball 60 yards in the air. I've seen it.
Yeah.
So
and it's actually a good point. Late, one of the last two drives that the Eagles had on offense, he pointed out how when Hurts scrambled out of the pocket because the protection broke down, that he had plenty of time to read the field as he was rolling out and throw it. But then as they were replaying that play and Aikman was breaking that down, I noticed, and I know there's people out there that could get the game film and do it. When Hurts was scrambling out of the pocket and Aikman was talking about how he could go downfield, I know a few people. I'll find this game film and I'll do a tweet about it later. Hurts wasn't even looking downfield. He was looking down at the ground almost. He was looking at the tacklers and his feet instead of looking downfield. And he threw the ball away, whatever. I kind of said it looked like he kind of took a rough hit out of bounds. It could have been a roughing the passer penalty. Brady gets that call. Brady doesn't put him in that position. I know. I got bashed for that comment. But Hurts' issues and deficiencies at this moment can't be quantified because we've got a terrible coaching staff around him right now. I'm 110% sure. And I know you saw my tweet and my poll, and I'm going to bring it up because I want to see where it's at now. When more people think that Jonathan Gannon is a worse defensive coordinator than Juan, it takes Juan to know Juan Castillo, that's a problem. That's not good. I put it out there earlier today. Who's the worst defensive coordinator, Castillo or Gannon? 53% of the vote says Jonathan Gannon is a worst defensive coordinator. That's telling of this coaching staff that is on this team right now. I bet you if I did a Sirianni Chip Kelly press or poll, I bet you Nick Sirianni wins that as the worst coach. I wonder if I do you're older like me. Some of our followers, are young babies, they were born when we were in our 20s already. If I put out a Gannon, Kelly, Kotite, who would win that?
God.
Not Gannon, Sirianni, Kelly, Kotite. I bet you Sirianni may win that poll, or at least hang tight with Kotite.
No, and I agree with that. But I will say, I will say it's still early. So
it is. We got a super easy schedule coming up.
As much as we are being critical, that's our job to be critical. I mean, you and I, we're honest and we're real.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not just being critical. It's being realistic about what's put in front of us.
What we see.
I want to be positive. I do. I love the power of positivity. You're more negative than I am sometimes. And I always tell you, power of positivity. It's a new day, you know?
And I'm trying. I really am trying hard. And honestly, the score does not tell, though. You hit it on the head. If I'm concerned more about one side of the ball, I'm not going to lie, dude. As much as Hurts has had some issues and Sirianni, I am more concerned about this defense. Because let's face it, that score does not tell. I put defense piss poor, and I'm sticking to that. The defense,
look,
although they have heart, I'm not going to say they don't have a heart. That's one thing they do have.
They do. They were gamers tonight, the defense. They tried their best despite the bad play call. Look, Darius Slay is told to play back on a 3rd and 3. He's got no choice but to play back. You know what I mean? It's Jonathan Gannon, the problem there. But let's be honest. I mean, I got bashed when I was with my previous network in the offseason, before the switch from them to DSM Media. I said Alex Singleton is not an NFL starting linebacker. Eric Wilson was a free agent for a reason. Jannard Avery shouldn't have been traded for a 4th-round pick. He should have been traded for a 7th-round pick, okay? Eric Wilson, not a starting NFL linebacker. Davian Taylor, we didn't know we needed to see snaps. I don't know if I need to see any more snaps from Davian Taylor. I think I counted 4 or 5 missed tackles from Davian Taylor tonight. Look, we have to be realistic and put in perspective. We just went up against Tom Brady, the GOAT, the greatest quarterback of all time, hands down. A great head coach in Bruce Arians that knows how to cater a game plan to the team he's playing. But on the flip side, and they're defending the Super Bowl champions, but still, you could still put up a competitive game plan against them. Look, Leonard Fournette still rushed for 22 attempts tonight. And not only that, he caught 6 balls out of the backfield. Miles Sanders had 9 rushes, caught 2 passes out of the backfield. Both teams, playmakers or running backs, one got their running back the ball, one didn't until it was too late. That's the difference between a good team and a good coach and a good organization and a bad coach, team, and organization.
I mean, you're totally on point, because it's exactly how I'm feeling. Like
the vodka's flowing right now. I'll bash or be honest about anybody. There's no holding back at this point. I mentioned my previous network just now. That's how much I said Eric Wilson and Anthony Harris. Don't get so excited. Some people got so excited about their side. No, dude, there's a reason they were available when they're available for the deals they were available. Let's be realistic here. And it shows on games like tonight where, dude, Eric Wilson couldn't tackle. If I was in the backfield, couldn't tackle. Oh, we got somebody at the press conference. Hold on. I think it's Sirianni. Oh, he's the first one up.
But after that, it fluttered all the way to the second half, middle of the second half. So, again, get to adjustments even quicker.
Get to adjustments quicker. You could have made adjustments after the first drive and realized what wasn't working.
Watching this guy.
No, not really. They played a little bit different coverage-wise, and then they played a couple different things against the zone read, which ended up getting us to those, which truly didn't happen until about the second quarter.
I almost don't want to listen to what he has to say there, Jason, because I know he's not going to say anything good.
I can't stand listening to him because
again, some of them same thing, or RPOs.
Same nonsense.
His midweek press conferences, though, Jason, I buy into him. I want to go practice for him.
Again, just
but I don't.
Flow was going.
I got a pizza shop reference. I'll bring it up after he's done talking.
First one. Again, and then the RPO, we weren't getting much on it either. But either way, I mean, it didn't work. We were bad in the first half, and I put that on me first.
The last of those design runs, does that put too much on Jalen Hurts?
No, I don't think so. He's been doing that. He's been doing that a long time. His RPO game, how he reads things. So I don't believe that's an issue.
But when you self-scout, do you feel in this past 6 weeks, obviously you got to watch the film of this game, but when you self-scout, do you feel like Jalen Hurts is making the right decision, taking the right option with those RPOs?
Sure, yeah, I do, and that's. I mean, if he was consistently making poor decisions, I wouldn't be feeling comfortable to call him. So I do. I believe he's been making the good decisions as far as where he's going with football with that, and the guy that he's reading. With RPOs, it's actually it's a little easier to read those than it is to read a drop back pass, right, or a play action pass because you're reading one guy. So I have confidence in how he's reading those. This weekend we'll be able to evaluate and self scout our offense even more with the extra time, and we'll be doing that. But there's no doubt our offense needs to get better and to give our team a chance to win.
We'll give them two more, then I'm cutting this off. I can't hear any more of this crap.
From a perspective, coming in, they were top run defense, worst pass defense.
Making me do
I know
that.
you got to look at the film, but did you have any feel for why it couldn't get going?
Yeah, again, it always starts with us putting the guys in position to make plays. And so it starts with us as coaches first.
That sounds
in the right
awful
position,
lot
go to the
like
right
Andy
player,
Reid right
with
there.
That was an
football,
Andy Reidism.
to try to get our guys going. So it always starts with that, but then you always look at the execution too, right? It's the execution and it's us putting them in the right position. So there was definitely some.
One more question. I don't care who asked the next question.
But
I'm
it
cutting
felt
them off.
like
I
there
can't
wasn't
take
enough.
We're not going
missed
an hour
opportunities.
tonight.
More
or
that
more.
hey, we just got to
We're gonna do one more
do a better
question,
job of
and
getting
then
these guys in
we're gonna
position
move
to
on
make
from
plays
this crap.
against the defenses.
What changed in the fourth quarter? I mean, you started giving the ball to Miles here.
Yeah, like I said, the
We
way
cut
they were
that question
playing
off real quick
right there.
there.
About the end of the second quarter into the third quarter is when they started playing the zone read a little bit different, which opened up a couple of those runs that we had called for that. So it was good adjustment.
That one was he cut that off too
those
quick. Maybe we'll hear
runs
one more
after
question.
They made a little
We'll see how
adjustment
bad the
how they were
question
playing
is
the zone read.
So Ray Buccaneers made a costing 15-yard penalty there at the end. Why does it seem to continually have some issues?
Yeah, that's first on me. I got to do a better job of cleaning up all those things.
Yeah, baby, we've had to clean up the penalties since week one. There's a reason we are the number one penalty team in the league right now. Look, I went from frontward hat. I'm pulling a Sylvester Stallone, turn the hat backwards, over the top, style. That's an 80s reference for anybody that doesn't know what over the top is. Google search over the top.
I don't like backwards.
Yeah, neither do I. I hate it. But, I'm doing my Sylvester Stallone over the top. Do you know what that means there, Jason?
Sylvester Stallone over the top.
It was a really cheesy 80s arm wrestling movie, and that was his thing. He was a trucker that was an arm wrestler, and during the arm wrestling matches, he'd go like this.
I think I do remember watching that.
I love my cheesy 80s stuff. It's why I think the A-Team is the greatest show of all time. I love 80s and
fucking
cheesy
love
stuff.
the A-Team.
Yeah, my
MacGyver,
first dog, my
Knight
man
Rider.
Decker right here. He was named after the A-Team, Colonel Decker right here.
My three favorite shows: A-Team, Knight Rider, and MacGyver.
Hey, they're my three favorite shows too. That's why we connect so well. Look, all right. Look, I don't want this to be an hour-long post-game show. We're going to go 10, 15 more minutes here. We're going to bash. Look, I got a DM or direct message from somebody here on Twitter, and I just want to, because it's one of the people that thinks I'm being overly negative and all. And it wasn't a DM, it was a tagged message at Beard of Knowledge. That's me on Twitter, at Beard of Knowledge, guys. Do me a favor and use all your energy on this coaching. These players played that close. And like Seth Joyner said, they got our guys running a high school offense. SMH shaking my head. Go after the coaching. Look, there is literally nothing I could disagree with that statement. I don't know about you. This loss, where this team is 2-4. But in my opinion, this team could be 3-3 or 4-2. I put it out there sometime in the second or third quarter. Josh McDaniels, offensive coordinator of the Patriots, offensive mastermind, a guy that should be a head coach. I know he failed in Denver, but let's be honest, he's staying in New England and take over for whenever Bill Belichick retires. But he has the potential to be a really good head coach. Was in Philly for 2 days. And then all of a sudden, Nick Sirianni snuck in and took the job. If we had a competent coach, an average head coach with an average team, or even an amateur head coach like Nick Sirianni with assistants which I don't know about you, but I talked about Jim Caldwell. A lot of people talked about Jim Caldwell as the offensive coordinator maybe this year. An amateur head coach with a veteran assistance or a real potential head coach that coaches average, we could be 4-2 right now. This could be a totally different team. Or if we were 2-4, we'd be able to properly judge Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, Jannard Avery, any person that stinks right now. And that's the problem.
I mean, they just asked that question before we cut it off, Nick Sirianni, about the penalty from Jannard Avery. Well, here we go again. Lack of discipline. That is all 100% coaching. When your team is the most penalized team in the NFL, there is a problem. To me, the problem is these players are not buying into what Sirianni's preaching. And if they aren't buying into it, either A,
guy right here,
the wrong things
with that decision.
Yeah, exactly. Or they're just not, dude, they're not responding. And unfortunately, right now, this is what you get when you bring in a yes man. I've said it hundreds of times on Twitter. I've always been a super critical person of Howie Roseman. And I always get slammed. And, well, they won a Super Bowl with Howie Roseman. Oh, Howie Roseman made this trade. Howie Roseman made that trade. Okay, when it's all said and done, I'm understanding of the fact that it's always at the top. It's the owner. But the GM, to me, is the guy that generally gets the blame for making decisions. And to me, the problem with this team is exactly what I said in the first minute of the show. This team has a lot of holes. There's a talent deficiency on this team, and I think our expectation, we wanted this team. Listen, dude, we're Eagles fans. We don't want a team to be bad. We're not used to being bad.
Absolutely. I don't want to be negative.
I don't want a bad team, but I also am a realist, and I understand. And dude, I hate to cross rivals or cross teams in this town, but I like to do comparisons. And you can look at every single team in this city, and the problem is, well, maybe besides the Sixers, the Sixers even too. I mean, they had some problems with draft picks as well. So.
And coaching with Brett Brown.
Yes, exactly. They're all similar, dude. We don't have not one of these teams besides the Sixers with Joel Embiid has an elite player. Joel Embiid is the only elite
great
player in this town, in my opinion. Maybe I have a higher standard of what elite is, but to me, elite is guys that carry your team.
I mean, I know I said he would want to be traded. You said trade him. Bryce Harper might be in that same category as Joel Embiid.
Maybe Bryce Harper is as close to being
close.
I didn't put Harper, and shame on me because I got slammed for dissing him. Sorry. Okay, Bryce Harper and Joel Embiid.
Dude, I love the Bryce Harper conversations.
But tell me, besides those two guys, who is elite in this town? I don't hear Zach Wheeler. Zach Wheeler to me is not elite. He's
not an ace. I mean, he was our ace. But he's not an ace on a World Series team. Anyway, we don't want to talk.
We're
going to talk Phillies later.
The context. We got
secrets about how DSM is
growing. I'm making.
We'll make some more announcements of how DSM is growing in the coming days and weeks. You know, I already announced Hunter, my man at Huntman10, is part of DSM. We might have some more, Bryce Harper bashers joining Team DSM in the near future. I want to save that for a grand announcement and all.
No, but you get what the point I'm making.
I know what you're saying.
These teams are having a problem with. We just don't have elite talent. Okay,
look,
and if we listen, there's how many teams in the NFL? 32.
32. I can't keep track of the NFL and NBA.
There's 32 NFL
32 in every league.
Out of the 32 teams, there may be 6 elite quarterbacks. So let's face it, if we're expecting Jalen Hurts
to say Wentz was elite.
Yeah, but if we're expecting Jalen Hurts to be elite, then of course we're going to be totally, it's never going to happen. Okay? Not everybody can have an elite quarterback. So let's stop expecting that every single quarterback is going to be a Pat Mahomes or a Justin Herbert. It's not happening. Okay? So right now, Jalen Hurts is the quarterback of this team. So I'm so sick and tired of hearing, well, he's not the quarterback. Let's finish the fucking year before we start saying he's the quarterback or not.
Man.
Okay, the real problem with this team.
Your head's about to explode.
Because I'm tired of it. I'm just tired of it every day.
Let's go bad boy style. Woosah, woosah.
Because I'm tired of it every single day. I have to listen to Jalen Hurts is not it. Okay, there's 100 other players. There's 70 other players on this roster. There's so many issues besides the quarterback. The main issue.
But here's the thing. Look, Jalen Hurts may be or may not be it, as you say, but we can't properly evaluate that with this coaching staff. We just can't. I got a message from Dylan in the group chat here, and he's comparing Wentz and Hurts, and it's a long, detailed message. He was at the game tonight, so I'm trying to go through it. But you can't compare Wentz and Hurts. You can't evaluate Hurts when you got coaches that don't know how to coach. Let's be honest. Nick Sirianni is a wide receivers coach. That should be his role in the NFL at this point, as a wide receiver assistant coach, and that's it. And he is running the Philadelphia Eagles, the NFL franchise of one of the 5 major sports organizations and cities in the country. You've got a guy, and it comes back to, like you said, Howie Roseman, the GM. I kind of, you say Nick Sirianni's a yes man. I kind of say Howie Roseman is as well. But look, way back when the first time I decided to start taking tweeting and social media and podcasting, and writing, all the different things, before even my last network, when I started to take it seriously, one of the first tweets I made that kind of got a little bit of a reaction and all was, we need to hold our GMs in this city more accountable. Elton Brand was still the GM. I know he is now, but Daryl Morey is really the de facto GM. Klentak was the GM of the Phillies. I don't even know who 2 years ago. Who was the GM still 2 years ago of the Flyers?
Oh, it was Holmgren. No.
I think Holmgren had moved on. But in general, we don't hold our general managers. Hextall was still in charge. Yeah, exactly. We don't hold our GMs accountable enough. They pick the players. They pick the coaches. The systems that are run on all these teams are picked by the general manager. Howie Roseman. I know George, my man. I love George. He strong supporter of all the work I do. He tried to convince me, and I was slowly buying into, look, Howie Roseman had a good offseason. He drafted good guys and this and that. But let's be honest. Did he really? On paper versus result are two totally different things. We got to hold Howie Roseman accountable. We know Jeffrey Lurie won't hold his stepchild accountable. And we're going to be who we are for a long time because of that.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Okay. When you have, for all intents and purposes, Jalen Hurts is a rookie. He had 4 games last year at the end of the year. So for all intents and purposes, he's still a rookie. Absolutely. His 10th game, he hasn't even played a full NFL season, calendar season. Okay. When you have a quarterback like that, okay, and you have an offensive line, because we haven't even brought up the offensive line yet. The offensive line today reared its ugly head because Jalen Hurts, the only reason that he didn't get sacked 10 times like Carson Wentz would have last year.
I don't even have the stats up. I closed the stats out.
The only reason
I closed out the press conferences off my computer screen because I don't even want to look or see or hear any of it.
Well, so the only reason that he didn't have a lot of sacks is because he's a mobile quarterback.
Absolutely.
Okay. The offensive line, once again, we came into this year and we said, can we please have a healthy offensive line? And once again, Jason Kelce is the last man standing. Okay?
Which, on a side note, I don't want to go into it in detail, but there was a Zach Ertz screen in the second half where Kelce came up shaking his head. I can't believe they didn't pull him from that.
Dude, he had a concussion. I believe I remember
you saw my tweet. Yeah. He literally was shaking. Anyway, look, I said it before the season. in the transition from one network to another, I kept saying, Brooks, Lane Johnson is the new. And look, Lane Johnson, I got his jersey right there. I love Lane Johnson for what he is and who he is, but he's not playing right now. He's the new Jason Peters. Brandon Brooks, multiple season-ending injuries in a row. Even Landon Dickerson, I said when they made the draft pick, it's another Sidney Jones. It's a guy. He had 4 season-ending injuries in a row. And look, he looked bad tonight. Not because he was injured, just because he hasn't played enough football. Look, it's bad. It's the offensive line, and I always say this, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. And that's what running out this offensive line week 1 was going to do.
Yeah, so getting to my question.
Oh, didn't we have the question already? Sorry.
Well,
it's been a long day. Dude, I got up at 6:30, 7 o'clock this morning, all right?
Dude, I love banter. That's what this is. That's what makes great shows.
I know. Dude, I'm going on like 18 hours here, and I got a Friday night at a pizza shop tomorrow, so my mind is just like,
it's okay.
I thought you already asked the question.
Well, no, but what I'm getting, you probably already know what I'm getting at. So you have this quarterback who's basically a rookie.
Mm-hmm.
You have an offensive line that's decimated.
Mm-hmm.
What should you do in that situation, even when you're facing a team that's number 1 against the run? Do you at least try to run? How come it took to the 4th quarter to run Miles Sanders? And the times when Miles Sanders ran, he succeeded. This is my question. That, to me, is the definition of insanity. Look, and that is why I have no respect for Nick Sirianni, and I'm not giving him any credit. And I'm not going to say, give him its growing pains, because he's not learning.
Miles Sanders is probably physical talent-wise, with Devontae Smith as the 2 most talented players on this offense, right?
Yeah.
And he touched the ball 10 times.
It's tiresome. It's
most in the second half.
It's almost asinine. When people outside of the Eagles fan base are making comments about it, that's what tells me that we know that we're right.
Exactly.
The whole people, I have people that aren't Eagles fans saying, what happened to Miles Sanders? What is going on? Dude, I said it. Did Miles Sanders, try to make a move on Sirianni's wife? I mean, I hate to make a joke, but I'm being serious.
It's after hours. It's 12:03 at night.
It's an honest question. I'm curious because it seems like either A, he did something wrong and he's being punished. I don't know.
It's frustrating. And I talked with Buddy Walters, my guest on Wednesday night, about this and the role the agent plays in the keeping a player, because obviously Miles Sanders is making mistakes now. And I think it's because of the lack of his role and him being frustrated playing a factor in how his decision-making on the field. And Buddy said, you try to coach the guy as his agent through those kind of situations. But, I mean, let's be honest. Nick Sirianni you got to give him the ball. You just have to. And look, I want to take it back even a step further than that. And I've talked about it. I talked about it on the Kelly Green show, Football Kelly show. I talked it on DSM. I've talked it everywhere I've gone. Play action / RPO means this much when you actually don't threat of running the ball. So just get under center. Nick Sirianni just needs to call plays under center for Jalen Hurts to either A, hand the ball off with a sweep to the left, a sweep to the right, a H-back dive up the middle, whatever basic core high school play there is, or a basic drop back out of, being under center, a drop back pass. Don't give him that RPO. Because look, Jalen Hurts is struggling to an extent right now. We can't judge him to an extent right now. The problem is you're giving him too much to think about every single play. Simplify it for him. Run play, pass play, run play, pass play, Just call the play.
Dude.
Don't make him have to say, all right, well, if the defense does this, you're going to go here. If the defense does this, you're going to go here. If the defensive end crashes, you're going to RPO it out to the right. And then if the tight end – look, it confuses me even thinking about all those options that he has. And I know football. But Nick Sirianni won't simplify it for Miles Sanders, Jalen Hurts, Devontae, for all these guys.
Well, it's funny? He simplifies
By
it.
the way. Just for
I
you.
knew
Right
that was
there.
coming.
Yeah. It came a while ago. I was saving it for just the right moment to throw you off.
He simplifies it at so the 2-point conversion to Kez Watkins.
Yeah.
Dude, he
That was
threw
a
an
stupid
absolute
play.
bullet. But it was a simple, that's my point. And the one last week to Devonta Smith, which may have been his best pass I've ever seen Jalen Hurts throw.
Right.
I'm telling you, he has arm strength. It's weird. It's like 90% of the game, he's not simplifying it. And when he does simplify it, Hurts has success. So I don't know, dude. I'm at the point where it's like, the training wheels are off, dude. It's like time to
All right. So we're 45 minutes. I thought we were going to do like a 30-minute post-game show. We're almost 45 minutes in. So we got to look going forward. All right. We get a nice, long, extended, week, a mini bye, so to say. We got the train wreck of the Raiders coming up next week. Then we got the Lions. Then we go to a good team against the Chargers. But then we got the Broncos, the Saints, the Giants, the Jets, Washington, the Giants, Washington. We have an easier second schedule. I mean, obviously, I know the answer. With Nick Sirianni and Jonathan Gannon, I don't have any confidence that even with this easier schedule, we'll see enough progress. But are we overreacting because we're frustrated? That hashtag overreaction Monday thing that you have to really think about it 2 or 3 days later? Or are we justified in our overreactions right now?
I don't think we're overreacting, Phil. I mean, honestly,
I feel like sometimes I am, because then 2 or 3 days later, I start making realistic, tweets and comments.
Phil,
and
overreacting.
But I agree. I don't think I'm overreacting tonight.
Overreacting would be us saying that the Eagles suck.
Yeah, well, they do.
I don't think the Eagles suck. I think the Eagles have a lack of talent, and I think they are a rebuilding team. And I think if you look at it that way, and coming into the season, I picked them to be 7-10. I don't know what your pick was. I think it might have been
8 or 9 wins I had. I either had 8, 9, or 9 and 8.
Okay, so
like that.
seven wins right now. They're on pace for 7 wins at where they're at.
But see, I had them at 8 or 9 wins because I thought they could beat the Giants twice. I thought they could beat Washington twice. I thought the Jets were a for sure thing.
They can. They can beat them.
But is that a sure thing?
I don't think it's a sure thing, but I don't think
they could still only win 4 or 5 games, and they could still get to 8 or 9. So, and that's the problem there. And what I'm trying to get at is, do we have we have an easier schedule where we should be able to learn and grow from this with this team? But do you have the confidence that can actually happen?
Honestly, I don't have confidence. What in the right frame of God, what in God's name would tell you that you should have confidence in this team right now? Nothing. I don't. I mean, the only confidence I could say is that we ended up taking the defending champs toe-to-toe to the last quarter.
We could just say that we won. We lost by 6 points.
Exactly.
I mean, we don't need to look at why they only won by 6 points. They only won by 6 points. But it's frustrating. It really is.
There's positive, the couple positives I did see. I like Avonte Maddox. I think you had brought him up. You brought his name up earlier in the year about being a guy that could excel in a lesser role.
It's true.
I saw him make quite a few good plays tonight.
He made a big play last week. Tonight he was there tonight. He wasn't the issue. The secondary is not why we lost. The cornerbacks aren't why we lost.
No, it's the
safeties and linebackers.
Dude,
that's our weakness.
Can we get to the linebackers?
McLeod doesn't look like he's fully recovered from his injury from last year. Anthony Harris is a reason why he signed a 1-year, $5 million deal late in free agency. You say the linebackers also. So Slay Nelson Maddox are not the reason we lost tonight.
Did you see, I think it was Alex Singleton, get absolutely trucked by O.J. Howard?
I think it was like
O.J.
3 or 4
Howard
times he did.
He made him look like, dude, Alex Singleton.
I
know
love
everyone loves
I
him.
know you know my reference. He's the Chris Coast, of the Eagles.
He's a great guy, but he's terrible.
He's not a
terrible.
star. He led the Eagles in tackles, and everybody's like, "Oh, he was a leading tackler last year." I don't care. When your linebacker leads your team in tackles that much or by that wide of a margin, normally means you're a bad defense. And when you have a bad defense, it means you have a bad team. So
Yeah, they're getting to the second level.
Yeah.
That means you're
look, I love him. He's got a great story. He's got a great family. He's a great guy. We're not going to win with him. So you said something a few moments ago, and I want to close the show with it. Because again, you know me. I like to admit when I'm wrong. I've said since day one that rebuild and retool are two totally different things. And in the NFL, you can retool pretty quickly. This isn't a retool, this Eagles team. This is a rebuild. I want to admit, like you said this is a rebuild. I've always said, no, it's a retool. With next year's cap space and the first-round draft picks, we could be good like that. No. This is at a minimum a 2 to 3 year project. And if Nick Sirianni is to coach all this year and next year even, because let's be honest, Jeffrey Lurie doesn't fire coaches after 1 year. He didn't fire Ray Rhodes. He didn't fire, Andy Reid after a bad Jeffrey Lurie gives you multiple years. So with Nick Sirianni going to be here for this year and the start of next year, with the way this team is, it's not a retool. It's a rebuild. This is going to be a 3 to 5 year stretch before this team is even remotely good. And you texted me or tweeted at me earlier tonight, should have drafted Parsons over Smith. You're right, because in a rebuild versus a retool, a weapon at wide receiver is not as important as a stud linebacker that can clog up the middle and hold a team to less points and stuff like that.
Exactly. And getting to kind of hammer more of that point home, had Howie Roseman not missed terribly on previous wide receivers drafted, we would never even would have had to have drafted.
I said that earlier tonight. How many wide receivers have we drafted in the first 3 rounds in the last couple of years?
Just missing on Rager and J-Jaw alone, those 2 misses may have put us back 5 years.
Smash my head into this computer right now just thinking of it again. It's just
I hate to rehash it.
Look, if Jalen Hurts or even Carson Wentz before had Jefferson or DK Metcalf, we might be a contending team year. It's a totally different story. Look,
I hate to rehash it, but it's true. And
I thought I was done rehashing it, but you just brought back up.
Well, because I was torn, dude. Because you know me, I love Devonta Smith more than anyone.
Yeah.
I was a huge Devonta Smith truther coming out of the draft.
I still say he's the best wide receiver out of the 2021 draft class.
I do too.
I know Jamar Chase is playing really well.
Even though Chase is
he's doing what he's supposed to, but he's got a team that's taking steps forward instead of staying stagnant or going backwards.
But having a Micah Parsons in that middle, I
wanted him.
Quantify
I wanted him at 6 when we were at 6.
You can't quantify how bad our defense is with that hole in the middle.
It is.
You can't. It's just I'm getting to the point where it's like it's coming. I mean, I knew that. Listen, Leonard Fournette, dude, he's only 2 years removed from being like a stud running back. Like the only reason he wasn't a stud was his injuries too. Yeah. Let's face it.
Absolutely.
He was an absolute stud when he was in Jacksonville.
And he came out of LSU. What was he, the 4th pick or 5th pick overall that year? Look,
and he's still young. So when they got him, at that time, Ronald Jones was their stud, and he's completely made. Ronald Jones is
Ronald Jones breaks my heart because I thought he was a fantasy stud last year, and Leonard Fournette's put him on the back burner.
He's disappeared.
Ronald Jones is a guy that's going to get traded somewhere else at some point.
The deadline
in the next year or so, whether it's a deadline this year or next offseason, because Fournette is the running back of the Buccaneers. So,
but getting to that, so we knew it was coming, and you couldn't stop him. And when you have that kind of a running attack and you have Brady, who is Mr. Methodical, I mean, Brady's like a surgeon, dude. And when you can't put pressure on him, you're not going to win. Let's face it, the only reason we won that Super Bowl was Brandon Graham, that getting pressure on that one play. We didn't stop him the whole game.
No pressure on Tom Brady tonight.
We didn't stop Brady that whole game. I mean, what do you have, 400 yards that game, I believe?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That now you're rehashing. Well, you're going way too far back. Dude, I'm wearing my Super Bowl shirt tonight, okay? I am. It wasn't because of Tom Brady.
I had to rep the Flyers.
Flyers start – when's their first game? Tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night, yes.
Yeah, okay. Flyers – maybe could give us some glimmer of hope. Maybe we got Flyers hockey action, yo, to bring up an old school quote from the radio channels there. Look, I'm gonna wrap this show up. I didn't think we were gonna go an hour. We're almost at an hour here tonight. Let's just wrap this up with a tidy little bow here. Obviously, Eagles lost 28-22, 28-22, 27. It was 28-22. To the Tampa Tom Brady's, to the defending Super Bowl champion, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Phil Stifel, this is Jason Sullivan. Look, we're not being negative, people.
Sullivan.
We're just being realistic. You know, this is the Philadelphia Eagles that we have here in 2021. And I'm trying to be as positive with this wrap-up as possible. We're trying to rebuild. We're trying to see what we've got. But unfortunately, Nick Sirianni, Jonathan Gannon, and I'm throwing Shane Steichen because he's the offensive coordinator. You got to throw him in there too. Brian Johnson, the quarterback coach, because we're not seeing enough progress with Jalen Hurts. I am putting 110% of the blame for where this Eagles team is at this moment, tonight, October 14th in 2021, on the coaching staff that Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie put in place. You can't rebuild. You can't retool. You can't evaluate talent when you have a terrible coaching staff. And dude, I'm trying to, as I've been talking tonight, I've been thinking of the worst coaches in Philadelphia history. And I don't even think Rich Kotite's the worst coach. I'm thinking of Doug Moe with the Sixers. I'm thinking of Jim Leland. Not Jim Leland. What's the guy that took over?
Ryan Sandberg.
No. Wait, I'm dating way back. Before Jim Fregosi was with the Phillies in 91. He's a third base or first. What's his name? Look, I'm thinking of the worst of worst time coaches in Philadelphia history in my lifetime.
Ryan Sandberg was pretty bad.
Ryan Sandberg was pretty bad. What was his name? Who was the 91?
I know you're talking about.
I have to Google search this before we wrap this show
Lee?
up. What?
Lee Elia?
Hold on. 1991 Phillies coach. Let's see here. It's going to pop right up. Nick Leyva.
Oh, Nick Leyva.
Nick Leyva.
I said Lee Elia.
He made it through 9 games of the 1992 season before Jim Fregosi took over. Okay? Like, we're going to the all-time worst, and this coaching staff is in that category as a whole because, look, they're just not good. They're overmatched. They're overworked. They're out of their element at this point. So that's where we stand as an Eagles. I don't know if you agree or disagree.
I'm 100% with you. I mean, to me, if there's anybody on the hot seat right now, well, for me, Howie Roseman needs to be on the hot seat.
He's not, though. We know he's not.
We know he's not, but he deserves to be on.
He's got a little circle crew there with Jeffrey Lurie and whatnot.
Because he always escapes the blame somehow. Now it's going to be, it was because of a rookie coach. Like, no, Jack.
He hired Nick Sirianni.
You're the one that hired the guy.
By himself 2 more years as the Eagles.
You're the one that hired the guy and gave him, no bullets to play with. Yeah, like,
exactly. Come on. Look. All right. Phil Stifel, Jason Sullivan.
No.
Jason Sullivan. I'm calling you the wrong Jason.
That's
Jason
okay.
Voorhees.
I was going to say something earlier, but
it's the first time I've done that. Did I say it before?
Yeah, you said it earlier.
I love Jason Sullivan. Jason Sullivan's my man. I love him. My favorite to have it at DFS, no pun intended.
You're so used to it.
Co-host. We're going to do our fantasy football show tomorrow night at 9 p.m. We normally do it on Thursday nights. We're here on DSM Media. This is Eagles Aftermath, the post-game show. Eagles lose to the Buccaneers 28-22. Man, it's going to be a long, long season, Jason. Jason, obviously, the host of Sports and Metal and the Drunk on Ice podcast. When is your next show? What do you got to promote? Get all your content out there for everybody.
I appreciate it, man. Well, so usually Sports and Metal, we go Thursday nights. Unfortunately, we had to cancel tonight. my partner is really busy with work, so he's swamped. But we'll be back next Thursday. And so we'll be back next Thursday, Sports and Metal at 7. And then I have Drunk on Ice at 9. So 2 shows next Thursday. You won't want to miss
You're going
that.
to be competing with me for my DFS show at 9 p.m.
Yes.
That's right. If you're a Flyers fan, watch him. If you want to learn your fantasy football, watch me. But both our shows are on demand. You can watch them on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, anytime you want, right?
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, and let's face it. I want to just thank everybody because a lot of people that support DSM also support my stuff already. And I wanted to thank everybody for, we're almost at 2,000 views for a debut episode. I think that's pretty.
I'm jealous. I'm freaking jealous.
But and thank you, Phil. I mean, you've been huge. So
the Flyers win their opening night tomorrow night.
I think they.
I don't even know who they play tomorrow night. I'll be watching. I'll have my Flyers shirt on tomorrow. I just haven't focused enough on the offseason to know. I don't even know who they play tomorrow night. Will they win tomorrow night?
I picked them to win, and I say 4-3.
Okay, Flyers win. That'll pick us up this weekend, going into the weekend after this bad Eagles loss tonight.
Yes, sir.
All right. Hey, everybody. Thank you very much. Make sure you subscribe, follow, retweet, share, turn notifications on. You know the deal on here at DSM Media. We're taking over the sports world. We're taking over the Philadelphia media world. More shows to come. More contributors joining our team. If you want to join our team, hit us up. We'll put you through a little rigmarole. See if you're worthy of joining the team. We are sponsored by Manscaped. I will always shout them out.com. Just like every other podcast out there. Use our code, DSM Media, because we're better than all the other podcasts. Don't use their code. Use our code. Sorry, Jason. I know you got a code for them too. But we're better. I want my code to be used, not yours on this show. 20% off with code DSM plus free shipping. Make sure you check them out. This is the Eagles Aftermath Show. Phil Stiefel at Bearded Knowledge. Jason Sullivan at Mustaine3651. Y'all have a great night. Jason, we always say go Birds. I know it's a tough night to say it, but we got to say it, right?